So today's video is all about contouring and highlighting. I want to share with you how I contour and kind of sort of bronze at the same time, and why I do what I do, and how I highlight every single day. And sometimes, of course, I do more highlight or less highlight. It just depends on my mood that day, but I love highlighting in general. I feel like it's just such an awesome thing to do, and I feel like it just brings everything to life as far as like my face, like all the makeup that I'm wearing. So I will be sharing with you guys some brushes, lots of tips in this video, products that I like to use for bronzing and contouring, products that kind of give you the option to do both with multiple products in one sort of like palette style that really makes it very user-friendly. I think that contouring can be a good thing. I think some people kind of take it overboard and go to the extreme with it, and if that's what you like, then that's fine. But what I'm doing is showing you how I do it, because I like my makeup on my face to look very natural and very soft. I don't have a lot of time to sit here and do a lot of, chiseled out cheekbones and, strobing this and strobing that. It's not practical for my life. And for me, when I do my videos and makeup, whatever you see on camera, if you were to run into me in, a store or somewhere out in public, you would see me with makeup very similar to that or exactly the same, because it's just what I really truly wear. And I feel like with the tips and techniques that I give you, I think that you can find something here to make contouring and highlighting easy for you. So please don't feel like it's an intimidating thing to do, because it's not. I can do it with just a few minutes, and you can do it too with just a couple minutes with these products. And I think that contouring, like I said before, is a good thing, and you can make your face look a little different as far as giving yourself some depth and dimension with makeup. And I think that's what makes makeup an art. You can transform yourself into, something different, and that's just the beauty of makeup. If you wanted to take it to that extreme, you could do that. So I hope that you will enjoy this video, and keep in mind that when you contour, those are going to be the areas of the face, like what I'm going to show you here, how to contour my face. Those are the areas when you put contour powder, those are going to be more caved in, and it's going to be a little bit more sort of chiseled and give you that depth and sort of give you some dimension. That's the whole point with contouring, and again bronzing as well, giving your skin some color and bringing life back into the skin. And then highlighting is wherever you put shimmer is going to bring forward those features, like the cheekbones, the nose, Cupid's bow, the inner corner brow highlight. When someone looks at you, you're going to see, those points highlighted, and of course the side of the face when you turn and the light catches. It's really beautiful to highlight, and that's what I love doing, and why I like highlighting every single day, because it's just really beautiful. And I will show you how to get a very natural and easy contour and highlight. So if you want to see how to do it and get some tips, my tips, then keep watching. What I like to do is use my bronzer in a way that I can sort of give myself some dimension and color at the same time. I do personally think that you can contour with something that's more warm tone. You don't always have to use cool tone products to contour. Despite what you read or people might say, oh, it has to be cool tone, it has to be gray. You don't really have to have that grayish tone in your products to contour. And for me, like I said, I do it all the time with a bronzer. So I'm going to show you how I do just a really easy, quick, on-the-go type of bronze and contour at the same time. And then we'll go into a little bit more of if I've got a little extra time, let me go ahead and jazz up my contour just a bit. So I always use this Ultra Bronze from Makeup Revolution. I have loved this product so much. As you can see, it is a bronzer and it is warm tone. I think warm tone bronzers and contours look the best on me. I don't like to use, like I said, too many cool tone products. And if I'm not using that, I have a little small sample, like a trial size travel product, if you will, of the Chocolate Soleil bronzer by Too Faced. Both of these are like my go-to bronzers in my collection, and as you can see, they're very, very close in color, and they perform pretty much the same, except Makeup Revolution doesn't have the cocoa scent, or that chocolatey yumminess that Too Faced has. So the brush that I use for everyday bronzing is the Morphe M527. It looks like this. It's a big brush. It's kind of pinched, so it's going to be kind of tapered and then fluffy over the top, as you can see. So I do like this brush because it can do both. So I like to just kind of tap my brush into there and kind of load it up. As you can see, I'm using the bottom side of the brush when I'm laying it sort of flat like this to pick up the product. And that is a lot of product, so I do have a paper towel, and I just kind of tap off the excess. And then, of course, when you do your contouring, you want to basically find where your natural contour is. You can feel your cheekbone, and you'll feel an indentation. Usually that's sort of kind of in line with the top of your ear, pointing down at an angle towards the corner of your mouth. So you can find it by pressing in. So just take your brush and just sort of apply it right there. As you can see, there's a little bit of product. Maybe you can already see that this side maybe has looked a little bit slimmer, and just by putting a little bit of product there. And then, of course, you want to soften and blend this out. And I like to smile and kind of bring it onto the apples of my cheek again, because this is blending and contouring at the same time. And just sort of do this little number right here where it's like, it's not sharp, you can't see a line, it's very soft and blended. And then, of course, I take a little bit more and quickly go around my forehead. I think I got a little too much, but that's okay. Go around my forehead, down here, and then a little tiny bit right here. And that's what I do. Like I said, I see a difference looking at myself in the mirror. This looks a little bit more caved in just a bit, but it's very natural. So let's do the other side to match. And you can do those little funny fish faces if you want. And then I like to take a little bit over here. Again, it doesn't have to be very fussy. I don't like to have to do a bunch of steps for my everyday makeup. Now, if I wanted to have a more noticeable contour, I will switch to a different style of brush. As you saw, I used the Morphe M527, this is what it looks like again. This brush here is a big Mac Daddy brush. This is the Bdellium Tools 990. It's got a really long handle. I don't like that aspect of it, but I like the angled part of it. This is also great for doing the same thing that I do with the M527, but again, it's going to be much more noticeable because I'm really getting with that angle of the brush right in there. But I would use this on the side for bronzer, and then use the top sides of the bristles to kind of get right in there and contour, and then do the same thing on its side around my face. Now, if you want something that can do the same thing but very affordable, the e.l.f. Complexion Brush, that's $3, is actually a really great brush for doing what I just did. Again, here, this is what I used for many, many months in Colorado. I love this brush. It's so soft, and it's $3 freaking. And you can get the same sort of look that I just did with this brush. So if you don't want Morphe, you don't like Morphe, you don't want to order online, you can get e.l.f. brushes locally in store, like Walmart's have them, Target stores. So now, if I wanted to go into a little bit more contouring, there's a couple different brushes that I would switch to. There are angled brushes like this one. This is the Bare Minerals Precision Face. That's very blunt, very densely packed. It's going to pick up a lot of product. Another one that's similar, it's not available anymore, but this is the Sonia Kashuk one that came out over the holidays last year. So it's got that angle, as you can see here. It's an angle, very blunt angle. Very soft bristles though, and they're very tapered. So again, this fits right perfectly in that hollow, and that's what I do with this brush. So that's why I like this brush so much. Again, another option that's very similar from e.l.f. is the angled blush brush. I know it's for blush, but I think it's better for, placing a lot of product right in that hollow, and then you can blend it out with the same brush, wiping it off, or going with something a little bit softer and fluffier like the Complexion one, just to kind of soften. And another angled brush, I have quite a few, is the Makeup Geek angled stippling brush. I haven't used this very much, but again, small and blunt and has an angle, so you can really get right in there and apply your contour. So I'm going to use, let's see, which one do I want to use today? Let's go in with the e.l.f. one. I do like that one. Okay, so for this step, if I want it more noticeable, I have a couple products. This is the contour in Warm Fair. The shade is called Bad Habit. This is from Makeup Geek, one of the more recent products. It is very pigmented, so be careful if you order the Makeup Geek ones, because just a little bit goes a long way on these pans. And I will have my affiliate link down below if you're interested in ordering. Interested in ordering any of those. Another product that I've talked about before is the e.l.f. Contour Kit. Has everything you really need to contour. You can bronze and contour. and then do some highlighting. So this is a great color. And the contours, I do go with something just a touch more cool tone. If I want to kind of get a really precise line, I think it, you know, it wouldn't be bad to do something kind of cooler. But I have other products that can kind of double up for bronzing and contouring as well that provide that. This is the Ultra Contour Palette by Makeup Revolution. Looks like this. You have contouring, highlighting, and bronzing all in one, which I feel like makes it very user-friendly. I usually would contour more intensely with this shade here, or, you know, do the same thing that I showed you with the kind of bronzy tones in this palette. And if you want something a little bit more high-end, there is the My Sculpted Face by IT Cosmetics. You can get it at QVC and or on QVC's website, and also at Ulta stores. And then this is what it looks like. You got some highlights, some contouring shades, and this is something that's a kit for a lot of skin types, or skin colors, I mean. So I do use the darker colors to bronze. I don't really touch this one because it's kind of scary and I'm really pale. So again, I use something like this. So I'm going to go in with my Makeup Revolution palette, and I'm going to use this shade right here. Now what I like to do is take my brush just a little bit in there because I don't want to make a mistake. Now I'll show you how to fix that. So there's the product. You can do the little fishy face and see that, or you can feel for it like I showed you earlier. So I'm going to feel for my cheekbones. And there is that line. You see how much more contoured and more chiseled that looks. So what I like to do is place the product, and I don't come any further than where my brush is. Any closer to my mouth is going to look very muddy, and that's the opposite effect of contouring. So what I do is I like to just kind of in circular motions buff that out. I don't want that harsh line. I mean, you're going to see it because obviously there's contour there, but you want it to be very soft, and this is what I do. I don't do anything more than what I'm showing you here. You can take something like the Tarte, the Sculptor. I have a mini of it. I've seen people do this. They put a bunch of lines of dark stuff on contour and then whites and shimmers all over and then blend it all out. I don't do any of that. I don't feel like I said before in the beginning, it's not practical for my lifestyle and my everyday life. So yeah, this is what I do. This is my contouring. It's super, super easy, and it's a no-fuss type of deal. And I'm using a very inexpensive product. You don't have to have a high-end, you know, product to get this effect at home. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the baking or cooking, that's so silly to me, method. It is what it is. A lot of people are doing it. I have done that method before, and I know it makes a difference. I don't do it every day, but if I were to do that, I use the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. Any setting powder would work for this step. Just make sure it's more of a translucent powder. You don't want to do this with powder that has a lot of color because it's going to add too much makeup. Translucent setting powder, if you make a mistake, and this is where this is key for me personally, because if I get sloppy with it, or if I'm rushing and I really want to do that little extra step of contouring and I kind of get it a little too low. If you come too low here by your jawline, it's going to look very muddy and almost like if you have a beard. Nobody wants that, right? So you can use brushes like this one from Makeup Geek, the angle stippling brush, and take some powder, because you can use that point of the angle part, the top part, to place your translucent powder to clean up, or as they say, cook or bake your contour. But the longer you leave a translucent powder on, the more it's going to give you that effect. Now, I don't leave it on for very long because I don't have time for that. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I have this brush, the Morphe M460. I've had this for a really long time, and I've never really used it I don't think I've ever used it, and I've never talked about it in my Morphe brush review video because it's very harsh. So before I show you the technique, anything like this type of brush is going to give you a very harsh contour. It's going to place it and give you a very intense line. Now you can use something like this to place your contour and then go in with something softer and fluffier like any other fluffy brush and soften it. But if you want a really sharp contour that will cut someone, you can use something like this. But this is an excellent brush for cleaning up or cooking or baking. So I take my translucent powder with a little bit in the cap. I try not to do too much of this because I don't want to waste a lot of my product. So load it up, and it's got to have quite a bit. And you're going to go underneath So you contoured here, so you want to go underneath. Let's pretend that I went a little too low with this. So I'm going to just apply a really thick amount. And it looks crazy, I know. And that's going to, again, it's going to make that line very intense. And then once I have it there, I just sort of buff it out. Let's just use the Makeup Geek one. Buff it out. I don't leave it on. Like I said, the longer you leave it on, the more brighter it's going to look. But I don't do all that, like I said. And let's say you took off a little too much, you can go with whatever's left on your brush. I feel that's the best thing I can tell you. Use whatever's left and fix it. If you go in and pick up more, that you have a chance of applying too much or bringing it too low. And I like to do this after I do my blush because sometimes I get a little too crazy happy with my blush and it comes down too low. And that's going to sort of clean up your mess if you came down too low. And it's going to help kind of brighten things up. Now you can do the whole baking method underneath your eyes as well. I don't really do that all the time. I have. It makes a difference. It's nice. But I don't, like I said, I don't really do any of that. So this is where I would stop. This is where I feel it's good. Now if you wanted to contour your nose, you can do the same thing with the same products that I showed you or whatever your favorite products are for contouring. And you can use like an eyeshadow brush that you can get something kind of small. This is the Morphe B84 and kind of come down on the sides of the nose. I'm not going to do it today, but you could. On the sides of the nose, some people kind of come down depending on the look that you're going for. I have a very small and thin nose, so I don't feel like doing that because it's just going to make my nose, to me, it appears smaller. Now, of course, the next thing that you need to do is, obviously for me, blush and highlight. So that's the next thing I want to do really quickly. And I've talked about my go-to highlighters, and I will link that video down below that I did months ago. I love highlighting. It's one of my favorite things. And one highlight that I love so much is this highlighting palette. It's the Radiance Palette by Makeup Revolution. Love this. That's what it looks like. Such a great range. Whoa, it got really dark. Such a great range of products. Like just the tones, the colors, the pigmentation, how easily they blend, and it's just great to work with. So I love these, and they're huge. They're gonna last forever. My go-to highlight brush at the moment is the Morphe M501. So it's like a really huge crease brush, kind of like a crease brush, but pretty big. And I've seen a lot of people talk about this, so I figured let me give it a go and try it out. It's actually good. Is it essential? No, you can use anything, just anything that's soft and fluffy. I wouldn't use any of the brushes that I showed you because that would be like a little too crazy. You can use an angle stippling brush, but I'm going to show you what I use. I'm going to go with the lighter one, the more pearly one, and I just dug my nail in it. Lovely, Lexi. So I do like to load up my brush because when I'm highlighting, you know, I get a little crazy. So I'm going to go on the tops of my cheekbone. Do you see that? Yes. This makes me so happy. Tops of my cheekbone, and I like to kind of bring some above the highest point of my brow. And if you get too much, let's say you're like, what in the heck? Or like my son says, what the what? Beauty blender. And I just take it and just kind of pat over it if I get a little crazy. But I'm rolling with it today. Why? Because I can. So I like to just, the tops of my cheekbone. Now I don't go crazy with the highlight like in a lot of different places. I mean, I feel like I highlight where everybody does if you're going to do the highlighting thing. But I don't go with, you know, something dewy and radiant all over my face because I'm oily. So this is what I do to highlight. Tops of the cheekbone quite a bit. Highest point of the arch of my brow, and then down my nose just a little bit. And I've seen people do the tip of the nose just a little bit, and it does kind of get just a little bit on the tip of my nose, but if you put too much on, it's going to make you look like you have like a, it's going to look like a, I don't know how to say it, like a nose is going to be too rounded like a bulb. I don't know. And then of course Cupid's bow. This is what I like to do all the time. And of course I have nothing on my lips, so it looks a little bit odd. And then you can highlight the inner corner of your eye and your brow bone, but I've done my eyes for a tutorial, so I'm not going to mess with that because I think it's fine. You could take this contour and highlight to the next level. You can, you know, cut someone with the contour. You can strobe until someone on Mars sees you, whatever you want to do. It's up to you, but I hope that these tips and techniques worked for you, or that you found this video helpful. And I hope that you will subscribe if you haven't. I just love you guys so much, and your support means everything to me. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so you can join my YouTube family and be part of my little circle of love here. And everything will be listed down below that I shared with you in today's video. And you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. It's all listed down below per the usual. And I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.